Ponyfans.com here with kicker and punter Mike Loftus. And Mike, you're taking over for Matt Szymanski, who handled both the punting and kicking duties. Do you consider yourself more natural at one versus the other?
I don't really have one picked because I've always done both. So it's been natural for me to play both my whole life. So
throughout the spring, you're the only place kicker in camp. You're one of two punters. Do you like that sort of sense of security of not having as much competition, or would you rather be pushed harder by more guys competing for the jobs?
Oh, I love competition, so I'd love for somebody to show up and give me a run for it, but I love competition.
You hear kickers described or compared to relief pitchers. You got to have a short memory, so if you get a kick blocked or if you miss one, you got to be able to forget it and hit the next one. Is that something that's natural, sort of born into you, or is that something that you can develop, and if so, how?
That's one of those things I've just always grown up with is, it's next play, the next thing. It's kind of how you come back from things that people really judge you on. So, that's, my dad always told me is never give up. So. You're one of a few guys on the team who gray shirted a semester. What did you do during that semester at home in terms of kicking and getting ready for when you arrived in January that year? I went back and I worked with my trainers for 6 months, and I did a bunch of lifting, put on 10, 15 pounds. Got a good tan.
Got a good tan? Nice. What are your initial impressions of your new special teams coach, Coach Gansz?
Oh, I love him. It's great to, be reconnected with somebody, because his dad was one who recruited me here, and it's great to, reconnect.
Now, you had a bit of a family connection with your uncle punting for Coach Gansz Sr. Tie that together a little bit. Who was your uncle, and when did he punt for Coach Gansz?
He punted for Coach Gansz when he was on the Bengals, and my uncle played from 75 to 85. It was kind of cool to have him call me and, say, I coached your uncle on the Bengals, and I've got an offer for you here, and that was just pretty special because my uncle's a big role model in my life.
So your uncle was Pat McAnally. Did he sort of steer you toward SMU simply for the chance to play for Coach Gansz?
Yeah, a big part of it was that he had a really positive experience with Coach Gansz, and that he knew that he had great connections for the next level, and that he's just a great guy and a great teacher.
Kickers and punters are sort of in a fraternity of sorts, and being a Southern California guy that you are, you got to know some of the guys at UCLA. Kai Forbath, their place kicker who won the Grozo Award a couple years ago, a couple of their punters, Aaron Perez, Jeff Locke. What have they told you about Coach Gansz Jr., and what kind of expectations do you have playing for him?
I called them last week actually, and they just told me he's a fiery guy, and just don't miss kicks.
We mentioned Matt Szymanski a little while ago. How are you different from Matt, either as a punter or kicker, either in power or accuracy, distance, mental approach? Is there a significant difference between the two of you?
Actually, we're pretty similar in that we do all three, because there's not many guys that do all three for their college. I'd say we're really similar, and we kind of butted heads at the beginning, competing, but we really kind of grew off each other, and I think we pushed each other, and we got a lot better.
You mentioned the idea of doing all three, kicking off, place kicks, and punting. Some people don't like to do all three for fear of getting worn out, or I don't know if it's the mental fatigue. Do you want to do all three, and do you worry about wearing down if you got all three jobs at once?
Oh, I'd love to do all three. I plan on it. I just want to help this team any way I can. So.
Have you looked at the rule changes at all? They're moving up the kickoff 5 yards. How does that affect your approach going into the season?
I think it's just another advantage for me because I have a pretty big leg, and that I can help this team and get more touchbacks. So.